Welcome to the online tatting classes founded by Georgia Sites. Today we're going to tackle this pattern. I'm going to show you how to do this motif. Alright? Working with these beads is not easy, folks. But I want you to know what you did was wonderful. I had a lot of homework come in, and I'm thoroughly impressed with you students. Hi, Tasneem. Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Bev. Bev, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, today, what I am going to do is I'm going to tackle some of the problems that we had in last week's class with that motif that I shared, and some of the questions you all had in Angie's class. Angie is like every one of us. We make a boo-boo on camera, okay? And all we can think of is, oh my gosh, we've let the students down, okay? Because you are very important to us. So that throws us off our game. I've been doing this many years, okay? So it takes a little bit more to throw me off, but Angie's new to this. So when she lost her train of thought and she was trying to move on and she was trying to keep up with chat, she totally got confused. So I'm going to square you all away on what she was doing first. Then I'm going to show you some things that you need to know. And then we're going to work on the pattern I gave you last week. So with that, any questions before I go into a down shot? Hi, Laurel. We're running a 1 minute lag, so I'm going to give it time for the lag to catch up. In case you're wondering, yes, I do have a counter. Any questions? Any questions at all? We've got about 30 seconds and I will be going to the down shot. Hi, Maria. Remember, when I go down, I cannot see your questions. Hold your questions till I come back up face forward. All right? And I'll probably answer your question along the way. About 10 more seconds. All righty, let's head down shot. Yes, we got all kinds of pretties down here. First thing, this is the motif, the start of the motif that you were supposed to do. And this is what it will look like. We'll do this and continue on after I show you all these other goodies, because these won't take so long. So let me move that to the side. The first little goodie I want to show you, right here. Let me get it detangled. All right, as you can see, I am working on a round, okay? But I wanted to show you something. Can you all see? Let me get this in shot where you can see it. Can you see where this first part here is almost straight? And then the second part here starts curving? Look at that. Can you see that? Well, the reason it's doing this is because I used larger picots on these rings here, and it gave me a straight line. The minute I started pulling my picots into the tiny bump picots, I mean, they're barely there, it starts giving the curve. So if you're working on a pattern, all right, all your joining picots on rounds need to be small picots unless they give you a size. And those are called joining picots. Now these are all up joins. Today we're going to show you the difference between up join and down join. First thing we're going to do, we're going to wrap our hand to do a ring. Now Angie showed you, because these are 3 picots, let me get back in shot, 3 picots separated by 5 double stitches, all right? What Angie showed you, when you wrap your hand and you come back around, these rings are pretty big, and every time you pull that thread back this way, okay, it puts a twist in it. When you pull it this way, it takes the twist out. It's a back and forth motion. So to level out that twist factor, here's what I do. You see how it's wrapped? I grab this back thread and I pull from that shuttle, okay? And I wrap my finger to bring it up to where I don't have to cause that pulling back and forth action. Then I can start working. So let's put in our first 5 double stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do an up join to this ring right here. And as you can see, I got the tiny little bump picot. You'll hear heavy equipment and stuff outside. They're working on the storage place across the road. They're making it bigger. Now, when you pull that up, that's going to twist a little. Slip it on your finger. If you see a twist down here, turn it, straighten that twist out, and put it back on your finger. When you're doing an up join, you're pulling your thread through your loop, and you're going to go up through your loop. Okay? And then pull it down. And then continue tatting. Let's do 5 more double stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to put in a larger picot right there. No, I'm not using a picot gauge. It doesn't look to be about the same as the others. It's going to stretch you out just a little. There we go. As you can see, I've run out of room. I don't have much of a loom. So what I'm going to do is, see that pinky thread? Pull it off. It opens my loom up. And it doesn't cause any twist. Okay? Now we've got 1 double stitch. Let's put in 4 more. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, here comes our tiny, tiny picot. But, you see, I need more space. Pull off more thread. Okay? So, we want one of those itty-bitties. Watch what I'm doing here. It will almost close up You see the kind of space I've got? It's very, very, very minute. You see that? And before I close that picot, I'm going to come back in with the second half. And you will feel it get snug. Then you close it. And as you can see, it's just a little bumpy. Tiny, tiny bumpy. You want the tiny, tiny bumpy. We're going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, we still got some thread down here. Open it up. Make sure our ring is set. If you take your fingernail and run it along between your stitches, you will take the twist out of this shuttle thread or your core thread that is running through your ring. It'll make it lay flat. Then take your shuttle and do what they call posting. That goes, here's the loom, you take it back out. See, I've got my loom. I'm going to drop it through right there. Let go of the loom, grab both ends of that ring into the pinch and pull. Grab it and close it up. And there you go. You have a ring. And if you look, you see the difference between this ring and this ring? This one's posted. This one's not. So you get a rounder ring if you post your shuttle. Now, let's do our chain. It is 5 picot 5, and then I'm going to show you a folded join. Alright, with this next ring. Then I'll ask for questions after I show the folded join. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we want a pretty decent picot right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, we ready? Now, as you can see, this round is not ready to close, but I'm going to show this to you so you can see the folded join. Doesn't matter if it's going to humpty up or fold in. The goal is to show you a folded join. Alright? So, that said, let's start our ring. This is an inward facing ring. Pull off our thread, wrap it, shuttle towards the hand. Alright? Let's go for it. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull off some. 5. Now on this picot that we're going to join to, we're going to do a down join. So what you want to do, come up from here, and grab that tiny picot. It may be hard to see. What I do is I come at it from the front side, run my crochet hook through it. Then I come from the bottom. See, I've got my hook up there. See, I'm coming through the bottom. Lay that thread over on top. And grab your thread and pull it through. Didn't want to do that. It doesn't like the small one. See? We all have our tedious problems. Come on. Gertrude, not today. She's the female version of Murphy. I woke up with her this morning. Yeah, so far today, I'm going to be a walking bruise next week. That's for sure. Okay, now I have pulled that thread down through the bottom of that picot. Going to loop it on my finger. Got to get more thread to open that loom up. That tail is just not going to get out of my way. Now, keep pulling, opening that up. Now, the rule of thumb, if you're doing a down joint, you're going to go down the finger, which means down through your loop. Nails to knuckles, down joint, knuckle. You're going to go under for an up joint and come up, knuckle to nail. Has everybody got that? So let's do our down joint. Once you do it, you pull the slack out. You just start playing with it and you pull it over. And when you're put in your next double stitch, it will show a continuation of double stitches. See? It will have that color blip if you're not using the same color. Now, to check yourself, you pull your thread just a little bit. If that thread moves, that means your join is correct. Okay? So continue on. That's 2, 3. Count my stitches, yeah. No, that was 4. Alright, and we're going into number 5. Pull some more off my finger. And we're going to put a picot in here. We're going to do 5 more. Then we're going to do that folded join. Okay? Now, here we go. If these two were coming around and meeting each other, this is where you would do your folded join. So what you do is you take your tatting, you fold it over, okay? You go up through your picot, like this, and you're going to reach over and grab. You're going to pull it up. What does that mean? We're doing a what? An up join. So, shuttle goes knuckle to nail from the bottom side. See that? And there we go. You pull it in to check you've got it right. Check and make sure it moves. Okay? Open up the last bit on that. Tat our last 5 double stitches. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to post our shuttle. Most advanced tatters do. It's actually preference. Okay. Get that ring closed. And as you can see, your picot did not twist. Let me get it up here. You can see that picot did not twist. It's the yellow to the orange. Can you see that? There's no twist in that picot. Right here. Right there. It did not twist. So, let me go to the upshot and answer any questions before we move on. All right. That's okay, Laurel. You can be me anytime you want. Any questions? And your tension needs work. If your chain is twisting and it gets all mumbly, you got to work on that tension. Yeah, and you got to keep it in the pinch. The pinch is important. So, any questions on the up join? Up join, knuckle to nail. Means go from knuckle to your nails. You're going up. Down join, nail to knuckle. You're going down. Does that make sense? You see, if we take the difficult things away from tatting and relate them to everyday things that are common to us, we remember it sticks. You turn your work opening like the page of a book. Reverse your work, it's like a steno book. You're flipping it this way. Top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top. Okay? That's why we use that. All right? Down joins are used to make your rings, as they're joined, more uniform and the stitches flow. You don't get that little twinge of thread that you see on joins. If you're doing a down join, it shows consecutive stitches. I just answered that, Laurel. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. You're moderator today. So, any other questions? Jackie's question was, how do you know when you would choose a down join? That's how you'd know. Do you want the little piece to show or not? Do you want a continual flow of your stitches? Yes, front side, back side tatting does use different joins. If you're working on the front side, you use an up join. When you rotate your work and you're doing the back side, to make it look like the front side, you would do a down join. I can try, Jill. Let me rip this one out. If you got a minute, no problem. I have to open it. Yeah, just a little bit of cup in here. Should have made several samples. Sue, that is tatter preference. I never do, but in Jan's patterns, he does count them. That is part of his counting. That's that extra half stitch that he throws in. So remember, if you're doing a Jan pattern, that's counted as a stitch. Any more questions, ladies, while I rip this ring out? Because I don't have another piece stage to repeat. Yep, rip it, rip it, rip it. Angie's got it right. You're on top of it today, ain't you, Angie? Angie, thank you for my error today, fixing it for me. In case y'all are wondering, well, that's just not going to even come out. I set up for class today, did my diligent duty, you know, to make sure you all found out about class. Want to know what happened? I forgot to send it to you. Yeah, I sent it to myself. On the folded join, it is an up join. Okay? Because if you try to do a down join in a folded join, you better know what you're doing or you're going to lock it up. Every time. Alright, I got it somewhat ripped out here. Let's see what we can do with this. See if we can get this puppy backed out. Yeah, I can't see that small thread. Untangled, Jethro. Yes, telling y'all, I woke up this morning and Murphy's wife or girlfriend, I don't know what she was, showed up. I ran right into my dresser. It's only been there for a year. You would think after that long, I would know not to run into it. Now that. So I ran into the dresser this morning. Then I come in here and I ran into the craft table. Yeah, I wasn't dizzy. I wasn't drinking. None of the above. Maybe I should have been. I could have walked a straight line this morning. But, yeah, I'm going to be a bruised lady. But, I don't know if y'all see the mess that's behind me. This is my sewing for y'all. This is all y'all's bags. I'm working my fingers to the bone. And I'm also packing for the move in December and weeding out. Well, things around here is getting a little cramped up with boxes and, you know, just menagerie of stuff. So, you walk through my house and take your life in your own hands at that point. I am not responsible if you come to my house. In case y'all are wondering, for anybody that's just come in, Jill wants me to show that folded join again. So I'm backing it out. And don't mind re-showing it. Class may run over just a little, but that's alright. I got time and y'all got time. How's that sound? Okay, I just got it took out. So, let me go back into the down shot. Alright, let me get up here. So, we've got our ring. We're fixing to put that folded join in. Let me open it up some. Get that twist out I created. In case y'all are wondering, let me show you. It's a spinning. It's a spinning. It's a spinning. You've seen them wind spinners that spin? That's what this was doing. Alright. Now, we want to join this to right here. In the real world, it would be meeting around like this. Okay? And if you join here, when you draw it up, okay, in some instances, not all, okay, you will twist this picot and it will roll over on itself. Okay, let me show you. It'll do this. Maybe it'll let me show you on these. I'll show you this big one. It will twist on itself and then you have a twisted picot. Some patterns call for twisted picots, but there are patterns that don't. So in order to keep from twisting that picot, we want to fold our work over. See how it's folded? And meet up with this thread. We're going to go through here, up through that picot, bottom up, Okay, so that means we're doing what? An up join. So lay your thread right here. Get it out of your way. Come up, grab that thread, and pull it down. If Murphy's sister will let us do it. You don't want to join two picots, you just want to join the one. You pull it up. Now when you pull that thread through and you hook it on your finger, you want to make sure it's not twisted down here. Okay? Then run your shuttle up. We're going knuckles to nail. So up. Pull it. Get all that loose thread off your finger there. Drop my loom. Pull it up, and then when you pull it through, tighten that join up. Okay? Now, when you lay this ring correctly, alright, it will not twist that picot. So let's close that ring after we put in our last 5 double stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, now we're going to close it. Pull it tight. And when you lay it over, let me get in shot here. That picot is not twisted. See, it's not twisted. There is no twist to that picot. So when you lay it right, there's still no twist in that picot. All right? So, did that help you? Corinne, I am booked up solid. I have 27 orders of bags, okay? And I'm not taking any more orders until after we get moved. I have to be out of here 1st of December. My lease is up. And we have an RV on order that's in Texas I have to go get. Yeah, we're going to be doing RV life. So look for your tatting teacher in your town. I can put you on the list. Send me what color you want. And as soon as we get into the RV and I get the craft room set up, I will make one for you. Not a problem. Yeah, Jill, try it, because what that's going to do is going to alleviate that twist that everybody gets on that last picot. All right, now, next order of business. Everybody wants to know, how do you start when you've got 2 tatting shuttles with 2 different colors of thread? How do you hide those tails? Now, I am going to show you the way I do it. Not had any come out at all. Okay? But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I give myself enough leeway that will give, okay, on this first ring. So, last call for questions on your joins. And we'll be in Wyoming. We'll be all over. We're going to travel. But I'm not going to be in Wyoming until the snow is gone. I'm old and so is my husband. We don't do so good on snow. I'll let y'all know when I'm there. Trust me. I'll let you know when we park the RV, I'll say, hey, I'm in town. Want to meet up for coffee? So, yeah, it's all good. Are we ready to look at how to hide our ends as we get started on our tatting project? Now, in ANKARS, sometimes you'll hide your ends, sometimes you won't, depending on what you're going to do. This is just for your benefit in all of your tatting. All right? So, let's go to that down shop. All over USA, Sue. All it is my husband and myself and 2 dogs now, and so we have not traveled since we've been married, and that's been a long time, about 35 years, and our vacations was spent coming and taking care of Mom and her needs and things like that. And now there's no family left, so we're going to take care of us and enjoy life. So, now I'm going to the down shot. Alrighty, ladies. I have a green thread. I have a purple thread. Now, you know, in beginner class, they tell you, tie a knot in this. I never tie a knot. Okay? What I do is I take my green thread, all right, and I lay it on top of my purple thread, and I grab it. Pull enough purple thread so it doesn't get lost in the mix. All right? Then I adjust that tail, because I don't like to hide a lot of thread, but I want enough so it will feed into enough stitches that it won't come back out. Does that make sense? We don't want it to come back out. So, watch what I am doing here. You see how these 2 threads are laid side by side, my tail and the thread going to my shuttle. The other half is going to my loom. But in between the 2, you see that purple? We're going to lock that little puppy in so it doesn't go nowhere. So, let's put in our first double stitch. Well, what are we going to do with that piece of tail that's hanging right here? See it? We're going to follow this core thread. So the core thread's going through the top of that loop. That's exactly where we want that tail to follow. Then we pull our stitch down. But to make sure it's snug, grab the tail and the core and pull that stitch in. And pull it tight. And you'll feel it with your fingers as you get used to this. Now we're going to do the second half. Now, naturally, I force that thread to the back because I know it's going to follow that core back up through this side of that loop. All right? And continue to do that about 4, 5 stitches. Because when you're done tatting, this is where you're probably going to end back at. And if you decide to sew in your ends, you catch this wrong, you can pull that tail out. All right? But, lifesaver, you can use what? The magic thread trick. And hide that end to hide those ends on the other side when you come back around. So, never ever do you end your hiding ends in the middle of a picot. Why? Any ideas why? Because if you end in the middle of a picot, it will work itself out and you'll get a little fuzzy right there in the middle of that picot and everybody's going to see it. So we've got 3 double stitches. Now we're going to put a picot in. All right. And then we're going to put the other half of that picot in. Pull it back up. Let's watch what I'm doing. And then you slide it over. But when you slide it over, you grab your tail and your thread, your core thread. Now we're going to put one more double stitch in. So you go the first half. All right? You're going to feed that thread through. Now, once you pull that first half down, you have a choice. You can cut that thread there, all right, or lay it behind your work and continue tatting, okay, and cut the thread later. So, we've got 3 right there. Let's do about 4 more. One more. Then I'm going to close this ring and show you how to get rid of that tail. What I do. Everybody does it different. Okay? Close your ring. Now when you flip that over, let me get back in line. You see where this tail is coming out the back. What I do, and it's a habit, I pull it to the center, grab that ring, pull that tail to the center. Then I pull that tail pretty tight. Let it stand up there on its own. Take your scissors, cut flush. The best scissors to use for this is embroidery scissors or nail scissors. And then you'll see you'll may have a little humpty. Take that fingernail and work it in. It will disappear. Okay? Now, while you're sitting this way, you know, you've still got the purple one to hide. You can hide it in your chain. Alright? The reason I hide my thread ends, one in the ring and one in the chain, is so they're both not in the first ring to make it look bulky. Alright? Now, hiding it in your chain, you're going to wrap your hand for a chain. And we're going to hide this in about 5 stitches. Cut that off. It's got a fuzzy on it. Don't like the fuzzies. Don't want the fuzzies. Tighten this up. And we're going to do, I'm just going to do some traditional tatting. Not going to mess with front side, back side. Now, on your chain, this first one can be a bugger to fight. But hey, we make the thread do what we want the thread to do. After you've pulled that first half down, snug it up. Okay? That tightens that in. Okay? Now let's do the second half. Push it to the back and bring it up. Okay? I just flipped totally out of my hands. Let's put in 2 more. Y'all see what I'm doing? Snug it up. And your tension on this needs to be a little tighter than normal to keep everything uniform. Alright, gonna put in 1 more here. Angie can go into more detail on this in her class. Alright? Now, we want to work that thread up to the center because we're going to put in 1 more stitch before we cut this out. So, Let's do the first half of that stitch. Drop it down. Bring it down. Pull it in. Now, once you get that, lay that over. Get it out of your way and do the second half of that stitch. Now you're ready to cut that end out. Okay? So, same as with the ring. Pull it, make it snug. Run your finger. Make it fit in there the right way. Then snip. See, it's in between the stitch, so you can snip it off. You don't want to snip before a stitch or after a stitch, or you're going to get the fuzzy wuzzies. You don't want the fuzzy wuzzies. Then take your fingernail and place that little tag, if you get one, down in the chain to hide it. Now, let me bring that up. Let me get over here. Can y'all see that? Let it focus. My ends are hidden. Both sides. I'll move the finger out of the way. You see? And there you go. That's how you hide your ends in the beginning. So, do we have any questions? That's right, Jill, but that little catch, that extra tug on it, it seats that pretty good. I haven't, since I started pulling on it, I haven't had that problem. Plus, running your finger between the stitches, it forces that core thread and that tail to play nice. And you want to do that as you're working, so that you're laying them in there inside together. All right? All right. Tasneem wants to know if a folded join is a combination of down and up. No. Tasneem, no. It is one or the other. It is best to use the up join unless you are working front side, back side. How to do the magic thread neatly. Okay, I'm going to show you on here. I'm going to go ahead and cut these tails. Alright, because I'm not set up for that. What you're going to do, alright, you see this where we've got two rings and we've got the chain. As you're tatting this second half of this ring, what you're going to do is run your floss threader or your thread, whatever you're using for magic thread trick, down with the loop at this end, okay? Because you're going to pull those tails back up. On your chain, you will put the hole where you'd run your thread through coming up towards the ring. You would put it in the chain first with the loop coming forward, do your ring, and on these last few stitches, tat that floss threader in with the loop going that way. The loops will face each other like this, okay? And then you put your thread in it and pull. Yeah, it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice, Laura. I'm not going to lie to you. If you don't watch what you're doing, yeah, it's going to get sloppy. But with practice, it gets better. Okay, if your first ring calls for 1 or 2 double stitches and then a picot, move on to the next stitch after the picot. Okay, if it's 1 stitch throughout, say the pattern's 1 picot, 1 picot, 1 picot, 1. Okay, what I would do at that point, I would take it all the way through that ring. Okay, and on that last half of that double stitch is where I would snip before I closed my ring. You know, I'd make the first half, lay the thread back, make the second half, close the ring, pull that tail in tight, and then snip it. That's right. That's right, Joy. Exactly. Your magic thread would go on the second half of the first ring and through the last chain. Any other questions before we move on to our little bead pattern? Our little beads. That is next. I'm going to give it a minute. We're not going to run over too bad. I just hope y'all learned something today. Now, who was it that asked, how do you do a folded join with beads? Okay? You do a folded join with beads the same way you do a folded join without beads. There is no difference. The only thing that's going to change is your beads and how you lay that thread to accommodate those beads. That's the only thing that's going to change. That's fantastic, Denise. I love it when you all say you enjoyed something. That just makes my day. All right, let me get it here, situate it, and then I'm going to a down shot. Are you ready? Let's get busy on this flower, ladies. Now we're going to make 2 complete rings. So you're going to know how to join on the left side and how to finish the right side and then join. We're going to do down joins. When working with beads, do down joins. Trust me when I say it, it's a lot easier. All right, let's go to that down shot now. All right, I've already tatted up 1 ring on that pattern. Here's our pattern. Now, all that was required on this pattern was for you to tat this. Okay? The other half of this, I didn't want y'all to mess with. I just wanted you to learn how to do this. Okay? Because things like this is banal. I cannot say it if my life depended on it. Nina, please forgive me. Nina Libin, she created a lace technique called Benal something. I can't say it, ladies. She can say it, I can't. But this gets you into that phase of bead tatting. It also helps you with ANKARS. This is a practice for ANKARS. Now, we've got our ring that's tatted up. We got the 4 beads on the picot. We've got 3 on the picot, 1 on the core. Then we've got our other 4. Now we have to tat the next ring. Now, with that, you see, look at that. I've got all of them beads on there. And this is what your shuttle is going to look like when you're tatting ANKARS. Hence the reason I said get a big shuttle. One that's comfortable in your hand, but not too bulky for you. Okay, now to do the next one, again, here's what we need. The first picot where we're going to join on here, we don't need beads on that. So that's 4 beads off of that gathering. All right, so we do need the 3 beads for here. And we need the 4 beads for the next picot, correct? So that goes in our loom on our hand. All right? Swap that around just a little bit so them beads will stay out of my way. Now, this is a pretty good sized ring. So again, pull that thread down, give yourself enough room, and wrap your finger accordingly. Give yourself enough room to work. Now, let's put on the first 8 double stitches. If you notice, my ring is directly perpendicular. This right here is center point. This 4 in the middle. My ring is perpendicular, starting the next ring of this one. Why would I do that? Does anybody know? Let me get the second half of that double stitch in. I want to see your answers. Okay. All right, Denise, I'm going to show you what you did wrong. Right, Sue. Right, Kaylin. It prevents the gaposis. But also, when you're working with beads, you need to have a little gap here to accommodate, or that ring is going to lay on top of the other ones. Okay? So you want to lay your ring perpendicular of your finger. It snugs this stitch up, but it also gives you the room you need to keep the beads out of your way. Okay? So, let's get on with this. We got 8 double stitches. Our first one is on. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, we're at our first join, correct? All right, so what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? This is where we're going to turn that ring at an angle so we can make this join. Now, 4 joins with beads. For you tatters that have the pick on the end, that's great, but you could scratch your beads. Be careful with them. All right, so we're going to do, this would be an up join if we came from the top down, but we want to do a down join. Why? Reason being is so that we can lay that thread where we need it to go when we get ready to seal the deal on this join. All right? So, we're doing a down join. Let me get some thread out. I'm all cluttered up here. As you can see, it looks a little wonky right now. But once I get this done, you will see why we did it that way. We're doing a down join. Okay? We want that shuttle to go down. So put that shuttle down in there. And let's pull that join up. Now, as you can see, we have 2 threads, right? We've got this one and the actual join. Let's pull that in and set that right where we want that to go. All right? Working up on that chain. This is where beads get fiddly. Pull it in, pull it in. All right? Keep pulling it in. You want to tuck that ring in where it needs to fit, okay? Now, this thread here is your second thread. You lay it on the other side of this bead. Okay? Right there. Now we're going to put in our double stitch. One. Okay. Now, if you will look, these beads are really too big for this thread, but I wanted something you guys could see. It's laying by placing a thread on this side of that bead and placing a thread on this side of the bead. It is laying those beads to mimic this. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? All right, now we're going to put in the next 4 double stitches. Well, actually 3. We've got 3 and 4. Get some more thread. Pull our 3 beads up. Okay, now we need that bead to go on the core. So let's grab it, kick it on down there. Now, if you get to the point your beads are all gathering up down there, just roll off a little bit more thread, slide them down, bring it back around. All you need to do is just roll it up a couple of times. It'll get them out of the way. All right, so here we go. Now they're weed eating the yard. They usually do this on Fridays. They're going to do it on Wednesday. All right, we're going to put that first double stitch in. 2, 3, and 4. All right, we got our 4 double stitches. Guess what we're putting in now? We're going to pull these up. There is 4 beads. Okay? And we're going to close that up. That's the next section. Normally, I would not work with beads this big. And we want to put in our last 8 double stitches. And we have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, we got our 8 double stitches. Now we pull it closed. Of course, fighting with those beads on this thread is no fun, ladies. No fun. But that's what it will look like. You have 4, and you see how by placing our thread on each side of this corner bead over here, made it look like identical to the other stuff. Okay? Everybody got that? What do you think? By doing the down join, it makes it easier to lay those threads where they need to go. So, can y'all see? I'm trying here, people. I'm trying. I'm really trying. It's a struggle at times. So that's what it looks like. But, Denise, what you did, you kept putting beads on both sides. after you do your first initial ring, okay, you don't put beads but at the top and on the side. When you get to your last ring, because you're going to fold the join here, the only place you're going to put beads is at the very top, because you're going to connect on this side and you're going to connect on this side. So, everybody got it? Everybody understand it? Did you learn something? Did I take confusion away on anything? In case you're all wondering, my allergies have flared up. Both sides are swollen and my ears are itching like crazy. I think it's because we're stirring up a bunch of dust and stuff in the house. Plus, we found mold in the house. And come to find out, the apartment on the 3rd floor is leaking water on us. So, did I take out confusion, ladies? Are you happy with today's class? Tasia, I'm glad you learned your down join. Practice it. If you learn one thing in class, you've learned something. It is placed after the, you want it placed. There's your 4 beads. Let me hold this up. Here is your 4 beads. You want that thread placed right here. This is the bead that's going to mimic what this looks like up here. So you want one on one side and one on the other. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of blur on my end. I don't know what's going on. Y'all know we had solar flares. We got solar flares. Did y'all hear about that? Said that it was supposed to mess up with things. I think it messed up with a lot of things. Alright, so for homework, ladies, I want you to tap the motif. Now that we took the questions out of what to do, I just want you to tap the motif, okay? You can put beads in here, but I just want the plain motif that shows the up join, the down join, and the folded join. You don't have to fight with beads on this. I want you to practice that. Jillian, honey, I want it to look like you made it, because we each tat our own way. One other thing I wanted to show you, but I don't have time today, but on the agenda next week, there was a discussion on a video that was shared, and the lady was tatting using reverse riego. There are many variations to tatting. Each person develops their own way. I do the slip and slide because that's what Georgia taught me. Mary Lee Rockley, she tats a different way because that's the way she learned. But reverse riego has history to it. So next week I'm going to get into it and show you how to tat using reverse riego. The nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about the flip, because that technique sets that flip for you. I'll show you next week. Right, it's difficult if you don't pull the loop on your middle finger. Train yourself to do that. It takes a lot of work out of tatting. Seriously, it does. Yeah, you want me to put the bead placement on the pattern. Okay. So, everything, remember, Jackie, everything that goes up, okay, goes on the loom on the hand. Everything that goes down on the core thread stays on the shuttle. Okay? Picots go up. If you're putting beads on your picot, they go on the loom hand. Okay? If you're putting beads on the core thread, it goes down on the shuttle because the core thread is down. See what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Everyday usage related to that. It helps remember. If it goes up, the picots go up. Put it on the hand you wrap. Okay? Whether you're wrapping for a chain, wrapping for a ring, it goes on the hand you wrap. But if it's going on the core, then it's going to go on this shuttle over here you're working with, the one that's doing the slip and slide. Because that's the down. Everything I do looks like it's going sideways and not top or bottom. That could be the camera angle. I'll work on it this week and see. Exactly. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sue put in there, the reverse riego is the original order of working the double stitches. And that's exactly right. I think I made them earlier. I'll make them again. Pam has no camera. We have a camera down. And therefore, because of the chip shortage, we can't get a new camera. Finding a camera is next to impossible right now. We're looking at a couple of months out before we can get a new one in. So right now she's doing her classes through email. Is that okay, ladies? If you got questions, shoot them to her. The other announcement, PayPal is now up and running for the classes. If you'd like to donate to keep the classes going, you're more than welcome to. It is not a requirement. We will teach you no matter what. The PayPal address is the online tatting class at gmail.com. Any proceeds over and above what we get to pay for the website and so forth and gear, that goes for scholarship to get students to the Tat Days convention. All right. I think I pretty much covered it. Till next time, ladies. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Enjoy your tatting. Don't fret over it. If you make a mistake, move on. Have a wonderful day and happy tatting. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.